Morning, good afternoon, and welcome everyone. My name is Gustavo Gordillo. I am ARIS coordinator at the Business Recovery Centers and Impact Beaverton. Today we are the honor to host our presenter Jill Adams from Beaverton City Library with a great topic. September is a National Preparedness Month. Welcome, Jill.
Thank you, Gustavo. Gustavo and I have been colleagues for a while, and the Chamber of Commerce is a great organization. They help you to learn how to network with other small business people. They have a great facility, and I believe there's mentoring there now too. I'd like to say also, even though this topic right now is about emergency preparedness, the way that you can do research for no cost at the library on this topic could also be used to research other topics that might be worthwhile for you. Like if your business is something not really that dovetails in with emergency preparedness. I've been helping people for about 30 years now in libraries to understand small business research. So I'm a very good contact, and I encourage you to contact me if you have questions. You're stumped trying to prepare information for your small business. My contact information is right here. All right. What we're going to discuss today are just a few things. First of all, the quick library updates. The library is open 7 days a week now, including Murray Shoals. We have a free Wi-Fi signal that is inside the building, but we also have free Wi-Fi that goes all the way outside into the grassy area and part out on the plaza in the front of the library, and we're trying to get it to go out to the east parking lot as well. Also, it's National Library Sign-Up Month too, so if you don't have a library card, you could get an incentive if you do it by the end of this month. You could get a tote bag, stickers, or sign up to win a Kindle. So they'll announce the lucky winner in October. We're also going to cover some state and county and city resources, and we're going to mostly spend most of our time how to size up the size of the emergency prep industry, and then we're going to have some time to do a prospecting list and some questions and answers. So we got a lot to cover. So emergency preparedness. You know, if you carry a flashlight and a snack in your car, you're prepping for an emergency. And now, I don't expect you to memorize this research technique that I'm going to describe right now, but here was my process. I learned about this subject, you know, like everyone worries about emergencies, but there was this podcast on NPR about preppers, and on the podcast, they linked to these research reports, but they weren't full research reports. They were just summaries. And I learned, first of all, that it's not really called preppers in the industry research field. It's called incident and emergency management. So that's always a better search term. However, preppers and like doomsday, these are keywords that catch people's eye and hook them. So you may, you know, take a page from their playbook, so to speak, and, you know, if you're going to do a small business, don't hesitate to, you know, use words that catch people's eyes. Those terms made me feel like I better buy some goods and services because it made me feel like this is an important industry to, prepare for. Okay, so the podcast mentioned companies it mentioned the size of the industry. It said that the global incident and emergency management market was valued at $75 billion, and it's projected to reach $423 billion by 2025. That's a huge shoot in growth. So when I went to that link, it mentioned companies, like that I could write down. So I gathered the names of the companies that were mentioned in the podcast. And then I searched those companies in library databases. Like, okay, so libraries have these databases that have business research, such as Business Insights Global and Reference USA. Another article that I saw linked from that said that the global incident and emergency management market size is expected to grow by $126 billion by 2026. And just within this year, it's expected to grow almost $100 billion. That is, there's going to be a lot of spigots of money from various funding to get an idea that this might be a worthwhile industry niche. So in Oregon, to understand what the size of the Oregon industry and emergency response market is, you think about what are the main threats. We have volcanoes, landslides, winter storms, windstorms, wildfires and smoke, terrorism. We have drought, earthquakes, tsunamis, extreme heat, and flooding. To understand the size of this industry, you would have to find out what all companies are involved in each of these threats. And you could include the budgets for all these counties, emergency management departments, and a portion of the revenue for engineering firms, electronics firms, nonprofits, and supporting industries. Even some retail and service businesses are involved in this. And then there's many consultants that support all these fields. Also, there's a lot of government funding available from universities and hospitals for university and hospitals, and so this adds to a size of the industry. And there's FEMA grants, so this is a very big industry. So if you think about the incident and emergency management market, some broad segments. You have safety, management, and other, which includes items for disaster kits, survival supplies, debris and disaster cleanup, and planning tools. You have mass notification systems like radios, and you have surveillance and detection equipment, traffic management, safety management, seismic and engineering, making sure that houses aren't going to fall down in a landslide. Most emergency management activities are local. See, these are all local threats. Public agencies use advanced technology to count traffic, track fleets, track utilities, detect signals. They also they need tip sheets for citizens, and so there are business segments about reinforcing people's preparedness within like tip sheets and things like that. In construction, you read about individuals who build engineered underground bunkers. You read about that they're spending billions of dollars on underground bunkers, but you know, the word bunkers, again, that's an alarmist term, and it can be used to catch people's attention. But a better industry's term, if you're doing research for construction and contracting, is the word hardening. So you have a school, but you need to harden it against an emergency. So that's a cool word to know. Contractors are sought out to harden homes, schools, public buildings, hospitals against threats. Also, just acting sustainably and sharing within your community is a way to prepare yourself for an emergency, and probably has advantages to burrowing underground, like alarmists often focus on. Oregon's 6 big industries include agriculture, engineering, health, public sector, hobbyists, and education and networking. Farms must harvest crops through hazardous air conditions, so farms are investing in agricultural automation and technology. For example, Oregon State University's College of Engineering is participating in AgAid. It's a $20 million federal effort to develop intelligence to address the biggest threats like diminishing water and labor shortage and extreme weather variations. Think drones and tractors. When you're doing research, just like a quick moment here, always be thinking about if you're getting a good source. Media literacy and critical thinking online is a great document put out by the DHS.gov. I would always make sure that you check the source. Other Oregon industries would be like construction and engineering companies. They prepare for landslides and winter storms. They prevent architecture from crumbling, and they do site infrastructure. Then there's things like relays and smart controls, smart technologies, motor sensors and controllers, and other industrial accessories used in smart technology. Other electronics companies are involved in the Internet of Things. You also have healthcare. That's a major industry. You also have students that have gotten Chromebooks to learn from home, so anything remote learning. For example, CTL is a Beaverton company. CTL donated Chromebooks, monitors, and helped support public institutions to help school districts as a part of effort to bridge the gap. So having the state, county, and city be prepared for emergencies with activities like simulations and drills, and citizen involvement are another activity of this market. Even HVAC, like this person here, he's working on HVAC. If there's air quality problems, HVAC is a big part of emergency preparedness now that wildfires are a major threat. And cities and counties, like I'll revisit cities and counties, but in a little while. So there's a lot of websites from the government to learn about preparedness. Multnomah County actually has 11 languages for earthquake preparedness. Oregon's Office of Emergency Management offers the Emergency Response System, OERS, and the OERS is the primary point of contact by which public agencies provide the state notification of an emergency or disaster. So to highlight just a few programs at the state level, one of them, the big one, is 2 Week Ready Oregon, and there's funding to ensure that 250,000 homes are prepared to be on their own for a minimum of 2 weeks after disaster. Also, new emergency services buildings are being built all throughout Oregon, including Beaverton, and we'll talk about that. Plans for critical energy infrastructure are also underway in Oregon. So building and remodeling are key activities that we'll be looking for, that will be sought after. State involvements, for example, in seismic upgrades of schools are underway. And there's an Oregon resilience plan, including a plan for the Oregon coast being engineered. So that first slide here is from ready.gov, and that's a really great resource. And the other one here is the Center for Preparedness and Response, and that is another really great site. In Beaverton, oh yeah, also I was just going to say, in the corner on the Center for Preparedness and Response, or ready.gov, on the corner they have multiple languages, so those things are available from ready.gov in multiple languages. All right. So here's a link to the Oregon Health Authority preparedness tools for Oregonians Get Prepared, and the Office of Emergency Management, and then earthquake primers in 11 languages, Multnomah County. And I could send this slide, Gustavo could send this slide project to anybody who asks for the links. In Beaverton, we have this new thing called the Public Safety Center, it is a resource to support first responders who are going to be working very hard to mitigate disaster in Beaverton. And the emergency management program has staff named Mike Muma and Renata Garrison, and they work very hard to develop and maintain the city's ability to prepare for and respond to and recover from and mitigate against emergencies and disasters, and to minimize loss of life and property, and just basically to make sure that the government can continue and recover the community. Now, what they offer is this thing called CERT, C-E-R-T. CERT stands for Community Emergency Response Teams. And they offer classes. Their lessons right now are online, but you can meet in person to practice the skills. And you should check their website because their website will have the latest information about the CERT activities. They also have their big thing that I think is really cool called the Take 5 book. It's like everything that you can do in 5 minutes that will save you a lot of time later. Even just taking 5 minutes to meet your neighbors and saying hi and exchanging phone numbers. It just takes you 5 minutes, but it might save you 5 days or 5 hours if there really is an emergency. Think about that. Those tip sheets are going to be available in multiple languages, and well, they are available in multiple languages, and they're going to be online soon. And their website says that once you graduate from CERT basic training, you have an option to participate as little or often as you choose, and they have many paths that you can explore. You can learn things about crowd management. You can learn things about light search and rescue. You can learn how to organize teams and learn about disaster medical operations. You could learn about psychological first aid and radio communications. So look for CERT events in your neighborhood, and even maybe at the library, we're thinking about doing them. That won't be until winter probably if we do them here, but we're definitely looking at doing CERT activities at the library. Basic training classes are offered in spring and fall. All right. So also Washington County EMC provides assistance to local businesses, schools, social service agencies, church groups, neighborhood groups, civic organizations, and youth groups. And the EMC at Washington County takes a proactive approach to help. They want to make sure that individuals and families can be able to manage on their own for 2 weeks. Now, okay, back to business here. On the business marketplace, so sales of goods and services to individuals, this kind of stuff is expected to grow, and it includes first responder tools, satellite phones and GPS, and amateur radio. It also includes internet hotspots that can be driven in a truck, and you can still get internet in the middle of, far away. Storable food, and self-defense classes. And can you think of other things that would be, like what else can anyone think of that would be worthwhile to be able to do? Anyone? Like off-road vehicles? Sure. What about motor repair, small motor repair? That'll be a useful skill. Generator, consulting services, support and maintenance services. So you can see this is individual consumers are going to be purchasing these kinds of things. Then there's business consumers. So business consumers, there's businesses, nonprofits, hospitals, and municipalities, and they spend money on things like IT systems, hardware used in everything from smart buildings, traffic controls, security systems, training, cloud backup, supply chain strengthening, and infrastructure. And at the library, we have these tools like the Book of Lists and the Pacific Northwest High Technology Directory. The Pacific Northwest High Technology Directory would be useful because electronic companies are not easily able to just be Googled or via Reference USA, which I'll demonstrate. And then there's this print book here called the Book of Lists. And I've got like the top engineering firms in the Portland metro area. And as you can see, I've pointed to the ones that have to do with like engineering of against landslides and geotechnical. So those tools are easier to understand. Those tools make it easier to understand what businesses offer if you can read the fine print rather than just, Googling. So yes, public sector, banking, hospitals, health providers, IT, manufacturing, transportation, public sector. All right, so now we're going to talk about prospecting lists. So a prospecting list is a list of companies or people who might benefit from your organization or your services or your goods. To make a good prospecting list, we should know, what do the companies call themselves? So let's say that you sell, or you repair, or you make, or you service, or you contract stuff that would benefit self-defense companies or self-defense instructors. But how do you get all the self-defense instructors together so that no matter what kind of self-defense that they do, you could at least have them a long list? Like maybe you embroider emblems on a karate uniform. I'm just thinking out of the box. Maybe you do something that such self-defense companies need. Well, you could make a prospecting list of self-defense businesses. The library has a tool called Reference USA. I'm going to stop sharing the screen and just demonstrate real quick. I did a search in Reference USA. I'm going to share, new share. And here is, when I went to Reference USA, I downloaded, as it turns out, so I searched for kickboxing on the internet, and I found out that I used this word called NAICS term, N-A-I-C-S. So NAICS kickboxing is what I Googled, and I got the search term that is, it's a NAICS code. It's 61162. And I searched that NAICS code in Reference USA, and it turns out that's the same number whether it's kickboxing or firearms safety or combat or karate. And I made a list that I'll demonstrate now. So way over here is the NAICS code that I was talking about. It's not so important, but I just wanted to show you, like, here's the NAICS codes, so that every thing can be together. And I'll be happy to demonstrate this to anyone who visits the library. So now I have this list of all these self-defense companies that I could network with or prospect to. So got everything from all these kind of self-defense businesses. I don't know if you can see that. Martial arts, pistol ranges, training consultants, even physical fitness places, karate, martial arts, gymnasiums, anyway, I got them all together in a list. Then there's another time I thought, what about landslide mitigation? For landslide, I went on Google and I Googled geotechnical. First of all, I Googled landslide mitigation. I found out that it's called geotechnical engineering. So then I went back into Google and I searched for geotechnical engineering. And I found this map. But, this map doesn't really help me. I need a list. I want names and phone numbers and managers. So I went back to Reference USA. I'm just going to share my screen with you and show you geotechnical engineers list. And now I have the geotechnical engineers all together, and I can sort by what kind of geotechnical engineer they are. Or maybe I want to sort by their zip code. Or maybe I want to, sort by their address or their county. In the Google map that I showed you before, there was 21 companies that popped into a map, and I entered one of the company names into Reference USA, and the result that came up had an SIC code of 8711-19. So SIC codes are another classification codes. Sometimes NAICS codes don't work as well in older industries like engineering. SIC codes work better. Anyway, I don't want to get too far into the weeds there, but I just wanted to demonstrate what a prospecting list is, and that we can do those things at the library, and I can show you how to do them, and then you can be empowered to do them on your own. All right, now the library website, when you use Reference USA, it's going to ask you for your library card number and your PIN. You're going to log in and use Reference USA that way. This is how Reference USA looks. You see here, you have keyword, where I enter the keyword or the NAICS code if I know it. You can always just use keyword if you don't know a NAICS code. All right, so library resources also include books. Hey, we've got books. We've got titles on preserving and foraging, survival, digital security, renovating your home for seismic and weather extremes, amateur radio manuals, hobby farming, hobby water storage, and self-defense. Also, the library offers videos about tech topics such as understanding mobile networking or backing up your data. We also offer actual mobile hotspots, so you could check out a mobile hotspot and learn how to get familiar with that kind of technology. Because if let's say that there's a power outage and that telephones, cellular signals are limited, and you can't get the internet on your cable, there might be some need to use cellular instead of cable. Yeah, anyway, it's just good to kind of like maybe learn about mobile hotspots. You could do that by renting one from the library. We also have learning videos from LinkedIn Learning, and as long as you log in from the library's website, like I showed you just in that slide before, you can use these free videos to learn about all kinds of technical topics. And so, if we have some questions or if you'd like any information and referral about any of the topics in this presentation, I really look forward to providing a connection between the small business community from the Chamber and providing support for doing research and becoming aware of trends and important things for small businesses with this field and any field really.
I will stop the recording right now.